One thing that I liked about Osho is that he was utterly honest and outspoken. He was simply not a commentator on a religious text or a spiritual text. He was a scientist. He experienced things and then accepted some and discarded some. It's interesting to note that he discarded even the Buddha himself. Towards the end of his life, when he was living in Oregon, in the United States, that was not quite the end, but a year or two prior to his passing away, he had an experience with Gautam Buddha while he was in his jacuzzi. The Gautam Buddha's spirit appeared before Osho and said, I want to get into your body. And Osho was very excited. Oh my God, the greatest being, enlightened being, is wanting to enter into my body. This was the greatest thing that could ever happen to any person. So he accepted the spirit. So after he came out of the jacuzzi, he just announced to his devotees that he would no longer be called as Rajneesh or whatever name he was known by the time. But he would be called the Buddha, because the Buddha spirit has gotten into his body. But soon after that, in about 36 hours or less than that, he was experiencing the Buddha spirit, which had taught him a lot about the Buddha himself. So he wanted to have his breakfast. The Buddha spirit would not allow him to have the breakfast, which was elaborate. So the Buddha spirit said, no, you have to have only a bowl of cereal or something. So he accepted it because the Buddha spirit wanted it that way. And then lunch was brought to him. Again, it was very elaborate, but then he wouldn't, the Buddha spirit would not let him to have a big lunch, maybe some rice and beans. Maybe I'm exaggerating the story, but this is something I was listening a long time ago. And in the night, the dinner, he was expecting for a good dinner, but Buddhas never eat dinner. So he wanted to go to sleep hungry. So he wanted to sleep on his very cozy bed. But the Buddha spirit said that you have to lie down on the floor without a pillow, using your hand as the pillow. The following morning he got up and every muscle in the body was aching because he was not used to lying on the floor and sleeping. So he thought that he would go into a steam bath and then heal himself, heal his body. But again the Buddha spirit would not let him to do that because he has to go to a river in a running water and take a bath, the cold bath. That's the time Osho really lost his temper and said, Buddha, get out of my body. You are too much. And So he came out of the jacuzzi and announced to his devotees, the Buddha is out. I am no longer the Buddha. And then explained to them what really had happened, living the life of the Buddha. It was not easy. It is the true experience of Osho. He was not making up. To me, what it suggests is you have to evaluate whether or not a particular philosophy is going to be suitable for you. That's the lesson. The Buddha was an ascetic, and he had problems with the material reality. Not that it was a defect, but that's what he chose to be, live. But then the reality that Osho knew was entirely different. It was complete luxury. And so there was an incompatibility. So one has to ask oneself which would be the right path for oneself. Because I remember a similar instance in the life of Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa had a dream which she narrated to the Greek prince when she was staying with him. I was reading it in a newspaper in Sedona when I was giving a seminar there in Sedona, Arizona. The dream was Mother Teresa died in the dream and went to heaven. But Saint Peter would not let her in. And she demanded admission because she has done so much good work with the poor people in India. But Saint Peter agreed with her, but then said, yes, you have done a lot of good things with the poor people. But the problem is your consciousness is not going to be comfortable inside heaven. Because if you go in, you will see only a bunch of party animals partying. And what are you going to do there? So your heaven is going to be with the poor people in slums. That's why I could not give you admission. This is what Saint Peter had told Mother Teresa. It's very enlightening to take a look at these two instances, the experience of Osho and the experience of Mother Teresa. And there is a saying in Sanskrit, yad bhavam tat bhavati, you become as you think. So we have to be very careful about choosing a particular philosophy before, we have to go and analyze the pros and cons, whether it is going to represent the right kind of reality, because it should not be lopsided. It should have moderation between material life and spiritual life. Or the best would be a 200% of it, so that there will be a balanced life.